Your special person's ex asked a psychic about you. What she revealed changed everything. My beloved child. Something happened when your special person's ex sat across from a psychic and placed your name in front of her. They expected an ordinary answer. Maybe even an answer that would make them feel relieved. But the moment the psychic focused on you, her expression completely changed. She became quiet. Then she revealed something the ex was absolutely not prepared to hear. She said there was a reason your special person could never completely push you out of their heart, and it had nothing to do with coincidence. The ex immediately asked, "What makes this person so different?" The psychic hesitated before answering, because what she sensed about you changed the entire conversation. Don't skip. The most surprising part wasn't what she revealed about your connection. It was what she said your special person was about to realize. The psychic explained that you had left an emotional imprint that could not simply be replaced by another face, another conversation, or another chapter. There was something about your presence that made your special person question what they truly wanted. And when the ex heard this, they tried asking a different question. Can this connection eventually disappear? But the psychic gave an answer that made the room feel completely different. She said, "You're asking whether they can forget this person. You should be asking why they keep finding their way back to the same feelings." That sentence changed everything. Because suddenly, the ex understood something they had been avoiding. You were not being remembered because someone was stuck in the past. You were being remembered because something still felt unfinished. Stay till the end, because the next thing the psychic revealed was even bigger. And it involved a decision your special person had apparently been quietly moving toward. Then came the revelation nobody expected. The psychic said the strongest thing surrounding you wasn't pursuit. It was transformation. Somehow, without forcing anything, your presence had made your special person look at love differently. They had compared other connections to what they felt around you, and those comparisons kept leading them back to one uncomfortable truth. Some people enter your life and become memories, but others change the standard completely. The ex went silent. Because now the question wasn't whether your special person still thought about you. The real question was what they planned to do about it. And according to what was revealed in that room, a moment was approaching when keeping everything inside would become harder than finally expressing it. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the psychic had one final thing to say about you. And when the ex heard it, they realized this story might be nowhere near finished. But what happened next completely shifted the energy of that conversation. The ex leaned forward, expecting the psychic to finally say that your special person would eventually move on. Instead, she quietly said, "There is something you still don't understand about this person." Then she described a quality in you that the ex had never considered. You weren't holding your special person's attention by chasing them. You weren't forcing yourself into their thoughts. Your power was in what remained after the silence. Certain memories of you kept returning at unexpected moments, a familiar feeling, an unfinished thought, a sudden realization that nobody else created quite the same emotional depth. Don't skip, because the ex then asked one question that brought the biggest clue yet: what happens if they meet again? The psychic paused. And her answer made everything suddenly feel much more serious. She said another encounter wouldn't simply feel like two people seeing each other again. It could force your special person to confront everything they had been trying to understand privately. The feelings. The unanswered questions. The words that were never spoken at the right moment. And here was the surprising part. The psychic suggested your special person had already begun recognizing something important. They were no longer asking themselves whether you mattered. They were beginning to ask why you mattered this much. That difference was enormous. Stay till the end. Because once the X heard this, their confidence started disappearing. They realized they had entered that room hoping to discover your weakness, yet everything being revealed was pointing toward your significance. And there was still one question left, the question they had apparently been afraid to ask from the beginning. Finally, the X looked directly at the psychic and asked, "Who does their heart truly choose when everything else becomes quiet?" For several seconds, there was no answer. Then came a revelation that changed the entire direction of the reading. The psychic explained that the answer wasn't hidden inside dramatic promises. It was hidden inside where your special person felt emotionally understood, where they could imagine becoming more authentic, and whose absence had taught them the true value of a connection. Suddenly, the X understood why your name carried so much weight. Something huge is waiting for you, because there was one more detail the psychic had noticed from the beginning but deliberately kept secret. It concerned something your special person may have wanted to tell you for a long time. And once that secret comes forward, everything you thought you understood about this connection could look completely different. What the psychic revealed next was the one thing the X had never prepared themselves to hear. She said your special person had been carrying an unspoken realization, something that became clearer every time they tried to ignore it. Your absence had not erased the connection. It had exposed its importance. The quiet moments had forced them to remember details they once overlooked, the way you understood what they couldn't explain, the calm they associated with you, and the strange feeling that certain conversations with you had stayed unfinished for a reason. Then the psychic said something that made the X instantly ask her to repeat herself. This person didn't become unforgettable by trying harder. They became unforgettable because the connection felt different. Don't skip. Because that was only the beginning. The psychic had noticed another shift surrounding your special person, and this one suggested they were moving from simply thinking about you toward making a choice. Here is where everything became even more surprising. According to the reading, your special person had recently started questioning decisions they once believed were settled. Not because someone pressured them. Not because they suddenly became lonely. But because comparing the past with the present had shown them something impossible to overlook. Some connections create excitement for a moment. Others leave behind clarity. And you had become that clarity. Stay till the end, because the X immediately asked whether this meant your special person wanted another chance with you. The psychic refused to give a simple answer. Instead, she said, "Watch what they do when they finally stop protecting themselves from what they feel." That sentence changed the entire atmosphere. Because suddenly this wasn't about prediction anymore. It was about a truth your special person might already know but had not yet found the courage to express. And then came the detail that made the X completely silent. The psychic said your special person wasn't only remembering you, they were imagining a conversation with you. A real conversation. One where nothing important remained hidden behind hesitation or pride. Something huge is waiting for you, because apparently there was one particular sentence your special person desperately wanted to say if that moment ever arrived. The psychic could sense the emotion surrounding it, but before revealing what that sentence represented, she looked at the ex and asked one unexpected question: are you actually ready to hear why this person could never be replaced? The ex said yes. But the answer waiting behind that question was bigger than anything they had heard so far. The psychic didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked down for a moment, as though one final piece had suddenly connected with everything else. Then she said, "You keep asking why this person cannot be replaced, but you're looking in the wrong place." The ex froze. Because the answer wasn't about appearance, timing, or competition. It was about what happened inside your special person whenever your memory returned. You represented a version of themselves that felt more honest, more open, more certain about what genuine connection could feel like. And that realization had apparently become stronger with time. Don't skip, because the psychic then revealed the detail she had been holding back. Your special person had reached a point where silence no longer felt comfortable. Something inside them wanted resolution, clarity, and perhaps the chance to finally say what had remained unfinished. Then the ex asked, "So what are they going to do?" The psychic's response was unexpected. She explained that the biggest change wasn't necessarily happening around your special person, it was happening within them. They were beginning to understand that waiting forever could create the very outcome they feared most, losing the opportunity to be completely honest with you. Stay till the end. Because the psychic described an emotional turning point where hesitation could finally become intention. Your special person might stop asking, "What if this goes wrong?" and begin asking, "What if I never try?" That single shift changes everything. Suddenly, memories become decisions. Unspoken feelings become words. And distance stops being an excuse. The ex had entered that room searching for reassurance that your chapter was finished. Instead, they were hearing why your chapter might have been unfinished all along. But the strongest revelation was still waiting. The psychic said there was one truth your special person had struggled to admit even privately: meeting other people had not erased what they recognized in you. It had helped them understand it. Something huge is waiting for you, because the ex finally asked the question they had avoided from the very beginning. If this person stood in front of them right now, what would they want them to know? The psychic became completely still. Her next words were not about the past. They were about a choice, a realization, and something your special person had apparently been holding inside far longer than anyone knew. And once the ex heard what that hidden message represented, even they could no longer look at your connection the same way. The answer came slowly, but every word carried weight. The psychic said, if they could speak without fear, they would want this person to know they finally understand what the connection meant. The ex didn't interrupt. For the first time, there was nothing left to challenge. Your special person had apparently spent so much time analyzing what they felt that they nearly missed the simplest truth: some connections only become clear after distance reveals what presence once made easy to overlook. And yours was one of them. Don't skip, because the psychic wasn't finished. She explained that your special person had been replaying one particular memory, not because it was dramatic, but because it represented the moment they felt completely understood by you. That memory had quietly become the measuring point for everything that came afterward. But then something even more unexpected surfaced. The psychic said your special person wasn't wishing they could rewrite everything. They were wishing they could approach you differently now, with greater honesty, clearer intentions, and none of the confusion that once stood between you. Stay till the end, because this is where the ex finally understood what had changed. They had assumed your special person missed a memory. The psychic suggested they missed the possibility connected to that memory, the possibility of discovering what could happen if both of you met each other again with everything finally understood. That was the revelation that turned curiosity into silence. Because memories can fade. Possibilities are different. They keep asking to be answered. Then the psychic revealed one final clue that made the ex look completely stunned. She said your special person's biggest hesitation was no longer about whether they should acknowledge their feelings. It was about whether you would still be willing to hear them. Something huge is waiting for you. Because suddenly the entire story had reversed. Your special person wasn't holding all the power anymore. They were wondering about you, what you felt, what you remembered, and whether the door they once assumed would always remain open might now be closing. And according to the psychic, that realization was pushing them toward a decision much sooner than anyone expected. But what she revealed about that decision next was the part the ex wished they had never asked to hear. The ex could feel that the conversation had reached a point of no return. They asked the psychic, "What decision?" And for a moment, she said nothing. Then she revealed that your special person was approaching a moment where staying silent could become harder than risking an honest conversation with you. Not because anyone was forcing them. Not because of jealousy. But because they were beginning to understand that some opportunities don't remain available forever. That realization had changed something inside them. Don't skip, because the psychic then said something even more unexpected. Your special person may already have imagined exactly how they would approach you. They had thought about what they would say first, what they needed to explain, and most importantly, what they could no longer pretend didn't matter. The ex immediately asked whether your special person was simply being nostalgic. The psychic shook her head. She explained that nostalgia looks backward, but what she sensed was focused forward. Your special person wasn't only remembering what happened between you. They were wondering what could still happen. Stay till the end, because this difference completely changed the meaning of everything the ex had heard. Your special person had apparently begun seeing you not as a chapter they once experienced, but as a question their hearts still wanted answered. And there was another surprising detail. The psychic said the more your special person imagined never having that answer, the clearer their feelings became. Suddenly, waiting didn't feel safe anymore. Waiting felt like the bigger risk. Then came the revelation that left the ex without another question. The psychic said, they are beginning to realize that the person they were trying hardest not to think about may be the person they need to speak to most. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the ex had entered that room hoping to discover how to make your importance disappear. Instead, every answer had made your connection harder to dismiss. But the psychic still hadn't revealed the strangest part. She said there was one specific realization about you that had recently changed your special person's entire perspective, and once they understood it, they could no longer see their future the same way. That realization was about to turn everything upside down. The psychic leaned closer and finally explained the realization that had changed everything. Your special person had stopped asking whether someone else could make them happy. A completely different question had taken its place: why did this connection teach me something nobody else could? That question kept returning. In quiet moments. During ordinary days. Whenever they believed they had finally put everything behind them. And the answer kept pointing toward you. Not because you were perfect, but because something about knowing you had awakened a deeper side of them. Don't skip. The psychic told the ex that this was exactly why replacing you had never truly solved anything. Your special person wasn't searching for another version of you. They were beginning to understand that what they experienced with you had changed what they wanted from love itself. That revelation made the ex ask one final desperate question. Then why haven't they said anything yet? The psychic's answer was almost painfully simple. Because realizing what someone means to you and knowing how to face them are two completely different things. Your special person had questions. Would you listen? Would you understand? Had too much time passed? Had you already emotionally moved beyond the place where they left you? Stay till the end, because this uncertainty was apparently becoming the very thing pushing them closer to action. Every day they remained silent created another possibility that you might stop waiting for answers altogether. And suddenly, the thought of losing that opportunity felt heavier than the fear of speaking. But then the psychic revealed something the ex never expected to hear. She said the next chapter wasn't really about whether your special person still carried feelings. That question had already answered itself. The real mystery was whether they would finally become brave enough to turn those feelings into honesty. Something huge is waiting for you, because according to what unfolded in that reading, your special person had reached an emotional crossroads. One direction meant continuing exactly as before. The other meant saying the words they had rehearsed silently again and again. And the psychic believed one particular realization was about to make that choice impossible to postpone. What she revealed about those unspoken words was the part that changed the entire meaning of the reading.